All right, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Obviously, the saga with Burrow, he'd already had something wrong with that calf because there was a sleeve on it, tweaked it right at the start of training camp, sat out the entirety of training camp preseason, ready to go by week 1, and then last week he aggravates it again. Mm-hmm. So now we're in this world where nobody knows if he's playing this week. The Patriots signed Will Grier off Cincinnati's team, so they lost a quarterback that could potentially go if Burrow isn't going to play. But number one, I guess, how bad is this? Like, what needs to happen? And is this, because I've seen it essentially suggested that he's probably going to play, and that just means he can't move effectively.
Right.
Is this now on him to avoid making it worse by having the sort of self-discipline to basically stay planted in the pocket and not do anything on that calf? Because that sounds very difficult to do.
Yeah, and you can't tell a quarterback in a competitive situation, like, stay in the pocket, just get hit if you have an opportunity.
Like, you're now a sitting duck. You're an immobile target. You can't get out of trouble because you'll make your calf worse.
Yeah. So on my soapbox, just a little bit about this situation. One, when we heard about his injury and it was reported as like a grade 1 calf strain, it wasn't. Not if they held him out that long, and not if it's still lingering. So there's an issue in itself. 2, of all the research out there, nothing says that if you have like a grade 2 or grade 3 calf strain, that sitting out 1 week is going to do anything.
Right.
I really don't think it's going to make any difference.
That's the thing. So it's either he plays this week and just tries to get through it, or he's out an extended period of time for this to heal.
And so the way I look at it is you have one of two options. You have Zach Taylor sitting there saying, we need to win and can't go 0-3. And we're going to put our quarterback out there and cross our fingers. Or he's going to say, let's hope that Browning comes in, and carries the load and gets a W. But I'm not going to lie, at the beginning of the season, they may have looked at it and said, well, the Rams aren't really the team we're going to worry about now. Now they look great. So they could easily start 0-3. So they're in a tough predicament. I mean, they have to sit there and say, do we risk our franchise quarterback's calf? And not to mention that there's a 14 to 16% chance that there is a re-aggravation of this now, just because he's dealing with the injury. Or you say, hey, we're just going to sit him. And I'm not going to lie, it's not sit him for a week. That's not going to do anything. Like, we're talking about sitting him for multiple weeks and just making sure this thing completely heals, and then might be out of playoff contention.
Yeah, so if that's like the alternative, right? Or I guess if you weren't a football player, the advice would be sit your ass down for a month, right? This is how long it's going to take. Now, but because he's a quarterback and the Bengals are 0-2 and they need him on the field, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to send him out there and say, everyone knows you're dealing with this, make the best of it, good luck, right? But what are the implications in terms of if it's going to take theoretically a month's worth of rest to heal, and instead of a month of healing, he's going to be using it every single week, even if he doesn't make it worse, right? Even if he doesn't go out and aggravate it and now it's completely wrecked and he's shut down and done, surely that means it's not healing. Like, if every single week you're going out there and using it, at least to the point of it's not healing during that process, whether or not it's being made worse. How long, I mean, does this just is this now, Joe Burrow is now hampered for the rest of the season, or is your body somehow able to adapt and overcome and it will heal, it's just going to take 3 months instead of 2 months, or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, you welcome his healing into the off season. It's right now, it's going to be maintenance. So hopefully it doesn't get worse. Probably not going to get a ton.
But theoretically, if they put him out there this week because they need Joe Burrow and he needs to be playing, otherwise the Bengals season is done. This isn't going away this year. This is something that's going to be with him for this season.
I do not see it going away because his rehab is going to be intermittent. It's going to be 5 days, and then that's going to sting for the Bengals when they're trying to manage a quarterback's load during practice and prepping for a team, and then say, well, we don't want him on there to re-aggravate it, and then you send him out there on Sunday and just cross your fingers. It's a sticky situation, but there is probably going to be minimal healing unless they said we're holding him out for a sustained period. It's just going to be maintenance, and you don't want anything, and not to mention not even the calf, but he has a higher likelihood of Achilles issues, hamstring issues. So he really is going to be flirting that line every week he goes out there. But I'm sitting there and I'm the Bengals. I can't. It's too late now. I mean, I think they botched it. I think that they should have rested him and just not even had him go in week 1 or 2 if he was still dealing with it.
So, because he was, from practice footage and all those kinds of things, he was like running a long time before week 1. Like he looked like he was putting load through that calf without a sleeve, without anything on it, like no signs of injury for quite an extended period before they ended up putting him out there week 1. It felt sort of like, we don't need him before week 1, so we're not even going to think about putting him in any kind of stressful situation before that.
Right.
Like, is there a chance that it actually looked like it was healed and then it re-aggravated for some whatever reason? Like, there was no sign that they didn't rush him back effectively. They just put him out there. They thought he was good, and it turns out he wasn't.
That's probably it. It's that they rested him as long as they could, right? I mean, week 1 is week 1. They're not moving that deadline.
Right.
So they rested him and hope that all the rehab and everything got to a point where he was good to go. I mean, the weird thing is, too, I don't know if you saw any footage of it, but they said he re-injured his calf towards the end of week 2. I don't know where that happened.
Right.
Like they said it was towards the end of the game, and he was scrambling with the ball, but I didn't see him like pull up. I didn't see any of that, which is a little bit of concerning for me, because it makes you think that, well, did he just have that he was dealing with all game?
Right.
And then it kind of just got pretty painful towards the end of the game.
Or even just, you get those weird, like, I hate soft tissue injuries suck, because there's sometimes where it just tweaks. You just feel it again.
Yeah.
It hasn't gone yet.
Yeah.
Like, it's not gone like it did the first time, but you just felt it. And now you're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, this, now I know it's not right, but I don't know how much I can push it.
Right.
Like, that sort of feels like what he had when he pulled up.
Right.
It's
Well,
like he just felt it again. And
absolutely.
now it's like, uh-oh.
So if you put yourself in the shoes of Zach Taylor, would you put Joe Burrow out there, given the implications of going possibly 0-3, 0-4? Or do you think that this is my franchise quarterback, this is the guy that we just paid the biggest contract in history, and you hold him out?
Yeah, I mean, even just from a selfish point of view, from Zach Taylor's perspective, it would be more, the thing that would stop me playing him, I think, is it's not going to heal. Like, that's my issue, is, I might win this game and go 1-2, but if he's going to be hampered Joe Burrow for the next 12 weeks, that's not any good to me. Like, I need him, at some point, he needs to be 100%. Like, you have to ask yourself, even if you get to the playoffs and blah, blah, like, can Joe Burrow operating effectively without a calf win you a Super Bowl? I would suggest the answer to that is no.
Yeah.
Like, or at least the chances of that are no. Now, you might be sacrificing the chance of ever getting there, like even having the shot, right? But at least if you somehow make the playoffs with Jake Browning steering the ship for a month, go 500, and then maybe Burrow wins out, and then you get, like, at least theoretically he's 100% there, and that guy can win a Super Bowl. But even if that would be my cost benefit analysis if I'm Zach Taylor. I'm like, okay, both options stink.
Yeah.
But on the one hand, there's a chance, right? If I can somehow get to the playoffs and Joe Burrow is healthy, we can win. Even if I get to the playoffs, if Joe Burrow is operating on one leg, we probably can't win.
Yeah.
That would be my analysis, I think.
Yeah, and like I mentioned with some of the stats, it's not guaranteed that he's going to re-injure it.
Right. But it's probably guaranteed that he's not going to heal while he's doing it. Like, that's the bigger problem.
It's not going to be 100%, and this is his plant leg. And we talked about that with Aaron Rodgers last week. It's your plant leg, it's your back leg, it's your driving leg. So every time he throws that ball, he's stressing that calf. So
that's the thing. Like, there's no guarantee that even if he stays disciplined and doesn't scramble, like do anything crazy, like simply the act of being quarterback in the pocket is going to aggravate that calf to some degree. Like, doesn't feel like a good option.
Yeah.